Hey, beloveds. Hope you're doing well. Wanted to talk to you a little bit about children at work, youth at work. A former client of mine, well, I've worked with him before. I still work with him on some things, but he's an IT specialist, very extroverted guy. And right now he's working in a senior home doing IT work. So he loves to go into the rooms of the elderly folks and help them with their computer issues, their TV issues, and all of that. He loves it. So anyway, I've helped him get multiple jobs throughout the years rather. He reached out to me, and I was kind of surprised to hear from him because I knew things were going really great for him once he got this last new job. He changed jobs and increased his pay. But in any case, he reached out to me to say that he wanted me to work with his daughter. She's 13 right now, 13 years old, and next year she'll be 14. And he's been talking with her about getting her first, real job. And he knows based on working with me that if he can get her on the right foot early, she's gonna do great. And so he's really excited about it, but he has some concerns too, and so he wanted me to work with her to help her get a resume together and to talk about her career goals. Even though she's 13 and a half, about to be 14, at that age you still have an idea about what you want, what you enjoy, and things can change in the future, but it's never really too early, I think, to talk about what brings you joy. And I actually think talking about it early can help normalize it, that you should enjoy what you do, and to build knowledge around how to be and how to thrive in the workplace. So anyway, I'm going to be working with his daughter, and the thing is too that jobs are different. The whole job process and exploration, it's different when it's youth, and at 14 that's still pretty young. And it's interesting because the laws are really interesting for family businesses. So if you have a family business and you're employing children, you can pretty much do what you want. The laws are so flexible with child labor issues. If your parents own the business, they can pretty much work you however they want. Very fascinating. And even though laws vary state by state in general, they're pretty liberal. Now, when you shift from a family business to like a legitimate, not like family business isn't legitimate, but if you go from a family business to a company that is not related to the person working, to the child working, the laws change dramatically. There are a lot of regulations, a lot of stipulations. In some states, depending on your age, you can only work a certain amount of hours. You can only do a certain amount of things. For example, with this young lady being 14 or about to be 14, she's going to require a work permit. So she's going to have to get her parents to sign off and her school to sign off that she's allowed to work. And then also, because she's 14, there's only certain hours and things she can do. For example, I'll just share my story. My first real job, I worked in my parents' offices. They were in the medical field, and I worked for them. Now, when I started working for them maybe like around 12, I would do filing and picking up the phone and paperwork and stuff like that. But when I became 15, I got a job at Domino's. It was right up the street, like 2 minutes away, and I had to get a permit from my high school to work. And because I was only 15, I was not allowed to work near the oven. So I was only allowed to pick up the phone. I could fold boxes. And then after about maybe 8 months or a year, I started to make pizzas. But I was not allowed to do anything with the oven. I couldn't put pizzas in, couldn't take pizzas out. I was to stay away from the oven, and I did. Now that first job that I had at Domino's, when I went for my interview, I think I talked to the boss over the phone, and he was like, yeah, all that sounds good. I told him I had my work permit. I went in person to interview, and my dad went with me. I was kind of surprised, but I was like, okay. My dad went with me. Hey, look, I have my little... Hey, Zena. Okay, so she's helping me make my video today. So anyway, I went there to the interview. My dad was there, and my dad and my new boss guy, kind of asked me to step away a little bit, or somehow I knew to step away a little bit, and they had, their man talk or whatever, and they had a conversation, and I got to tell you, I worked for that boss for at least 2 years until he sold the Domino's. I never had one problem with that boss. I don't know what my dad said to him, but I never had any problem with him. He treated me good. It was all good. I enjoyed working there, actually. I would take home pizzas every night because, an order got wrong somewhere or someone didn't like it or whatever. It was a good thing. But when I became 16, I got a second job working at Shoney's. And Shoney's, I had a kind of bad experience, but I was able to make more money there. And I did have some problems with my manager, my boss there. And my dad never had that, man talk with that boss. And I wonder, if my experience with that boss would have been different if my dad, went out of his way to show up for me at that place. Maybe not, but I don't know. But I think about it sometimes. Now, I'll tell you that when I was at Shoney's, I was a waitress, and when I would go into the ice machine, I'd have to bend down to scoop the ice into the cup, for the customers. And I would bend down, scooping up, and I'd feel someone on my rear end, someone right on my butt. And I'm like, what? And I get up, and I'm looking behind me. Why is my manager all up, on my butt, right? He was looking in something above me, like some cabinet, looking for some imaginary something up there. And I'm looking at him like, what are you doing? But he's, looking for something above it. But why do you have to do that right when I'm at the ice machine? And so it made me feel really uncomfortable. Again, I'm 16 years old. It's my second real job. Never had any experience like this before. And so I talked to some of the other ladies there. Everyone's older than me. And they say, oh yeah, he does that sometimes. Not to all of them, but to some of them. And they it was normalized. And I was just weirded out about that. And I didn't want to complain to my parents because they were never gung-ho about me needing to work in the first place. I worked because I wanted to. There wasn't a critical need for me to work. And so I share that story because I want to offer this question, how do we prepare our youth and children for the world of work? And this young lady that I'm going to be helping, it's not, is she going to have an inappropriate work experience, but when. It happens to everyone, especially women. It's going to be inappropriate, but to what extent will vary, but she will have an experience. And it's about how do we prepare her and support her? Will she know what to do when it happens? And so that will be some of what I'll be working with her. It's not just about her resume and what kind of work she wants to do, but I'm going to be working with her about those things. If something makes her uncomfortable, whether it's with someone docking her pay or inappropriate comments or, asking her to clock out before she's done, whatever it is, how is she to handle that? When to fight, when not to, in terms of what battles you want to do. So I'll be talking to her about that so that she has the support that she needs. And I also think about, it's good that her father recognizes how great her start is going to be by having her think about her goals and create a resume. It's great for her father to think seriously about what is the best environment for a young girl, young woman of color too, and what role will he play as a father in both her protection and her success. Okay, where your child works matters, what kind of environment you want them in. And as a father, I really appreciate, kudos to him for stepping up and saying, hey, I want my daughter, I'm thinking about having her, or she's talking about wanting to get this job in the fall somewhere. And I want to reach out to you, Ebony, for help and see what's the best way to go about this. So kudos to him for, taking that responsibility and seeing, what is his role as her father and support. So anyway, take care, y'all. Let me know if you have any questions. This may apply to you. It may not. You may have children, you may have youth, or you may have friends that have youth. But these are things to think about. So anyway, take care and hope y'all well. Bye-bye.